How do you feel about gender ideology being taught to students?
I think it's BS. I think gender ideology should never be taught to students. I'm in a place for that, and that time is in. That's the only reason that anybody should be talking about gender ideology.
Let students be students. Let kids be kids.
Let students be students. Let kids be kids. So simple, yet so powerful.
Probably want him to make college free. I think it's ridiculous that we have to pay for a higher education in the first place.
So by free, you mean that somebody else pays for your college?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, got it. So let's just play this out. I didn't go to college.
Okay.
You're in college. Why should I have to pay more in taxes so you go to college? Make the argument.
Civic duty. I would say that being able to fund the education, the higher education rather, of more people, especially in a modern economy, which is so digitized, things like computers are becoming
What are you
incredibly
studying?
important. I'm currently studying psychology.
Got it. So, yeah.
I'm going to be going into social work. That's the field that I want to go into.
It's a very important moral argument. So for you to believe Trump is for you, he would want to increase taxes on people like me to give it to you so you could go study Freud and Jung.
Yeah, you should probably be taxed more.
It's funny because higher education doesn't equal greater intelligence. You have the choice to go to college, so you choose to pay that payment. And his answer to the argument that college is not worth thousands of dollars in student debt just to make college free, yeah, creative.
Donald Trump lost his election. Do you think we could have seen another January 6th?
I do believe that. I think it might even have been worse. Maybe a civil war. He says this is gonna be America's golden years. Let's see it. And his people, let them have their cake, and I hope they choke on it.
Are you willing to give Donald Trump a chance?
Nope. No chance at all. He's had his chance once. I watch this guy every day on the news. This guy's an idiot. He don't know his ass from his elbow. He's a failed businessman.
Will you accept him as your president?
No. I'm actually thinking about leaving and going to Iceland until his term is over. I have the money to do it. I'm just thinking about how attached I am to my job with these dogs.
I actually have a biological father. I am intersex, so I have both male and female sex organs, so I was just able to produce him on my own. I understand why you're confused, though, since he does identify as a cat, but he's not biologically a cat. Like, if he were to get his blood drawn, they'd send it off to a lab, and they'd say, okay, this is a human, but my son, he told me that he feels in his heart that he is a cat. So I am raising him to be one. A lot of people have questions about this. They ask me if he uses a litter box. The answer is yes. They ask me if he eats cat food, and I don't feed him food that is marketed for cats, but I do feed him food that is safe for both humans and cats to eat. For example, fish. Obviously, cats can't go into the workforce, so I don't worry too much about his education. I do homeschool him, though, because it's illegal to just not send kids to school. But I take all of his tests and everything for him, because he no longer speaks English anymore. He just meows to me.
This might be a parody, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it was real. And that alone says a lot about where our society is today.
When I went to the Democratic Party platform and I did a word search on family or marriage, the only time they talk about marriage is as it relates to arranged marriages in foreign countries. That's it.
It's telling.
It's telling. And that shows the difference in on the two sides, right? One believes in family and the role of marriage and fathers in terms of providing for and protecting for women and children. And the other believes in the government as everyone's dad. And I've said this before. The government is a terrible husband and an absent father because it just has too many households to support.
Claim asylum, that's fine. They want to see a judge, that's fine. We'll give them due process. We'll make that happen. However, at the end of that due process, if a judge orders them deported, we have to execute those orders. Because if we don't, what the hell are we doing? Might as well just abolish the immigration court. The orders don't mean anything anymore. Take the border patrol off the border because there's no consequences for entering the country illegally. You can't demand due process and at the same time not accept the final decision of that due process. And we're going to do that. So, and if we don't, the only option is to let them stay. Then you send a message to the entire world. You can enter the United States illegally, this is a crime. You can show up or not show up in court and lose your case, but even if you lose your case, no one's going to make you go home. We're never going to solve the crisis that way. We're a nation of laws. So the message we need to put out right now is for those in the United States illegally.
That makes sense. What good is the law if there is no punishment breaking it?
The government has done more damage to society, Facebook and Instagram, or
Facebook. I would say Facebook. Facebook. Probably Facebook. I think there's good that comes from because if you think about it, the reason why men are subscribing or purchasing to those girls are because they're probably afraid to approach real girls in real life, and them subscribing to us is basically us helping them prepare for that situation.
Oh yeah, well thanks. It's a service, just trying to help society. The benevolence of your own heart has nothing to do with wanting to fill your pockets with lonely men who you then create a parasocial relationship with and have a Chinese dude or some foreigner chat with him at 3 o'clock in the morning while you're soundly sleeping on your behalf in order to create and entail this parasocial relationship. You're a saint. You are fantastic. I know that you're just doing this out of the goodness of your heart. What was I thinking?
Thank you.
She literally went ahead and said the opposite of what OnlyFans does to men. If a man can have a parasocial relationship online, why would he try in real life?
A lot of you have seen this floating around today, so we are going to talk about it. First and foremost, I have chosen not to play the video because frankly, it is difficult to watch. And secondly, I am covering the individual's face out of respect for this individual because I do believe that we are looking at an extremely serious case of medical malpractice as well as medical abuse. Something you should be aware of, this is not a medically necessary double mastectomy for breast cancer or anything of that nature. This is an elective transgender surgery that was performed on a nonverbal, extremely disabled individual. The following video was posted to this individual's Instagram account right before this individual underwent surgery. What kind of doctor? What kind of doctor would perform this surgery on an individual who is as incapacitated as this? What type of money-chasing pile of garbage, human piece of shit, thinks that this is okay? Oh, and it gets worse. It gets worse. Leading transgender doctor insists that nonverbal autistic minors can consent through their drawings because they can draw their feelings, okay? It gets worse again because they say that if someone cannot consent, it's discriminatory. If you think this is anything other than malpractice and abuse done in the name of money, you are out of your freaking mind. This is fucking unacceptable.
This is absolutely fucking horrific. These doctors that do these surgeries are sick and they should lose their license immediately.
I wasn't making that point, so
what is the point that you're making?
I don't know, but if a bitch was to get
Everyone's asking questions at the same time. I'm sorry.
Hold on, guys.
She's been being patient. Yes.
Are y'all leaving after lunch, or is this like a freshman thing too? Because we can't even leave.
You fought real hard for that question.
Are you gonna answer?
Obviously, I'm not gonna stand out here
What makes
during.
you think that's okay to talk to a minor like that? Are you her parents? Did you legally have her?
I think she's a young lady. She's good. She's legit.
Yeah, they should have him arrested for speaking common sense. I agree.
Hey guys, I want you to listen to this very carefully.
President-elect Donald Trump's election win has been extremely profitable for Elon Musk, whose net worth has grown by $276 billion since November 5th.
This talking point that many Democrats try to push is stupid. You see, Trump got elected and now Elon's net worth is skyrocketing. Real quick, to finish her video, they talk about Elon and his net worth, and then she basically pushes her book that she's written before and then talks about maybe she should write another book about Elon buying America from Trump. It's stupid. Anyway, I'm more talking about the point of people acting like, oh my gosh, look at Elon's net worth increasing since Trump got elected. Trump got elected and a billionaire's net worth skyrocketed. Don't you see the problem? No, I don't see the problem. The vast majority of his net worth comes from Tesla. Now ask yourself, why would Tesla double in value more or less since Trump got elected? Well, it's because people see the value of Tesla. They're creating and going to launch a robo-taxi network. They're creating humanoid robots. They already have a fleet of self-driving cars that drive themselves. They've got Tesla solar. They've got Tesla energy. The reason the price doubled so aggressively is because people see the value in Tesla. But what they were worried about is if Kamala Harris and the Democrats won, they were going to use lawfare against Elon and probably damage Tesla. That was not priced into the market. They were waiting to deploy capital because they didn't want to invest in Tesla and then the Democrats quash it. They just watched them use as much lawfare as they could against Trump, and Elon went hard for Trump. There was no reason to think they wouldn't do the same thing against Elon. So when investors realized that the Democrats would not have the power to do this to Elon for at least the next 4 years, they started investing their money into Tesla.
These two are officially the dumbest.
I'm never the guy like, yeah.
Bro, they got drugged out here in Colombia. Bro, these girls took, bro, listen to me. These girls took 3 phones, a laptop, iPad. What else did they take?
He knows what your iPhone is.
Bro, my Ray-Bans that I love to death.
Your Ray-Bans too?
Yeah, dude.
Y'all don't have a Find My iPhone or whatever?
Yeah, it's here.
Where is it?
It's in some place.
Bro, we need you. Did you get to the cops and all this shit or no?
We can go there.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Bro, I thought this shit was a joke. They dead ass came to Colombia and got drugged, bro. They got drugged. I can't believe this shit.
And of course, the guy is still drinking. Listen, if you look like an easy target, they're gonna come after you. There's no doubt about that.
You guys keep sending me this. I'm not sure why. She's kind of bad. She's kind of... Whoa! Whoa! Hold on a minute. What was... She got no titties? Oh, it's a fucking man. Am I gay? Am I
Boston, Mass, guys. It's growing. Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts State House. We're out here representing.
There was always those people who disapproved, but finally they're rallying together.
I'm trans and I am proud of it.
And I support my trans wife every step of the way.
Not that many steps it would seem there. Man, that was a rough watch. That one hurt me here. It hurt me right here. Why do you guys send me this shit, man? I don't want to fucking see it no more.
Our generation, roughly speaking, have really seen the run up and the peak of DEI stuff. You know, it has occurred with our adult lives, you know, in tandem with us going into the marketplace, the job market. And I think that there is so much, finally, just frustration that has been able to be properly vented over this issue as part of Trump's victory. And also in situations like this, we're all sick and tired of being told that when you have a focus on something that isn't the important thing that an institution is supposed to do, it does not detract from its focus. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me DEI is a mission critical thing for the fire department in LA, but we never took our eye off of firefighting. Well, you did.
Indeed, it will be mind-blowing if people still stick to diversity and inclusion as their city burns to the ground. Equal female and male firefighters is a discussion we can have afterwards, although still not one that we should have.
I know.
Why are you single?
I find that most guys are low T soy betas.
Okay.
And I'm still assessing the T levels right now.
So you were worried that I can't grow a beard?
Yeah. What you seem like is maybe like New York straight, which is still gay. That's what I'm not sure about.
I just shave for the jawline.
A beard is the push-up bra of the face for men.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm just taking a massive L shaving all the time. I grow a beard in 2 days. I just shave every day.
I find it hard to believe.
Help, we will restore America's promise. We will rebuild the nation that we love, and we will do it very, very fast. That's what we want. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender.
We all know what this means for woke people.
I think women in sport should get paid the same. I think it's a very nuanced question. I think my answer is no. All things being equal, there was a man and a woman playing the same sport against each other. I think who should get paid the most would be the better player. I guess that could be a woman. Maybe women could get paid more. I don't know. It depends. My feeling is with sport, there's like this like fake hero. This is going to be a wild answer, which you probably haven't heard before, but it's to idolise like these fake heroes, right? They're just people playing a sport sport with a ball or doing whatever, often there's very little significance as to what they're doing. I sense that, if someone was performing something and there was an exchange, and in this sense we're using money, I feel like the exchange has to be equal to the level in which the skill is being performed. So that's not necessarily whether you're male or female. If you had a mixed team and there was a woman that was a better player than a man, then she would get paid more. And if there's a man that's better than a woman, they would get paid more. Yeah, I think they would get paid more.
It's nice to see a reasonable and a logical man express his views for once. And of course, there are plenty of the other kind.
Okay, white people. I'm white, you're white. We need to shut up and listen to people of color.
Woke people more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed, new study suggests. This was March of last year. 850 people surveyed. These are the conclusions that they came to, most of which are blaming others for their own faults or own issues. In the end, their final critical social justice attitude scale identified 7 truisms of woke people. So this is what they found that they believe. If white people have on average a higher income level than black people, it is because of racism. That's blaming white people for black people's issues. University reading lists should include fewer white or European authors. Again, hating on white people because they feel like black people are at a disadvantage. Microaggressions should be challenged often and actively. Think again, you're focusing on the wrong things. Focus on bettering yourself, not trying to control others. We don't need to talk more about the color of people's skin. I agree, but that's all that woke people do.
Do you think that women in sports should get paid the same as men?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm all for equality. So I come from South Africa, where equality is a big issue. Australian values equality, definitely.
I just met some people that said the women's sports don't bring in as many crowds as the men, and so where does the money come from?
You're talking to someone that was at the Matildas game last night with my 3 little girls, so it's probably a little bit biased. Maybe AFL's a bit different, but I would argue that the Matildas are probably more popular than the men's team in this country when it looks at soccer. So, I mean, if you have a look, I don't know if you watch the famous Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And I think from a boxing point of view, the women's match that was the lead up to that was probably much more of a boxing spectacle, if you enjoy that type of sports, than the main event. So you would argue that if they had to have a rematch of those two, I would say the rematch of the women's fight would probably bring in more money and more sort of revenue.
Generally, his argument is not valid, but I understand his bias because he has 3 daughters, so it makes sense why he would think like that. At least he's calm and civil about it.
Map of what it would look like if only men voted. Let me correct that. This is a map of what it would look like if men voted. I used to think it was just low T soy betas on the coast, but it turns out the low T soy betas are all across this map. And that's because all these men who want Donald Trump to win, they sit at home and just let the unhappy, unmarried liberal woman who has a vegan cat on antidepressants just outvote them across the country. 10 million more women than men voted in the last election. And this year, women are leading men by 10 points in early voting. If you're a guy who sees this map and still stays at home and doesn't vote, well, that would make you a lesbian for Harris.
Trans girls are girls. And for all the folks that are so concerned, thank you for your concern about women for the first time that I've seen. I don't know about y'all. I don't know who's been to gym class lately, but girls, even if you only believe in 2 genders, I've played co-ed sports all the time. But what this also opens the door for is for women to try to perform a very specific kind of femininity for the very kind of men who are drafting this bill.
No. AOC, you have obviously never played sports at a high level, but I have played Division I sports at UCLA. So let me explain something to you. I was a rower, and we would race to the 10th of a second. 10th of a second. The men doing the same 2K race that we did, or 10K race that we would do, in a 2K would beat us by a minute. A minute when we're racing for a 10th of a second. You're co-ed sports, and you saying this pushes women to perform at a higher level? What is wrong with you?
Exactly, to allow 1% of the population to participate in a sport, you're compromising the efforts and hard work of half of it. It's ironic how their idea of inclusivity always ends up being so exclusive.
In honor of International Women's Day, I'd like to show my favorite women's sports highlight because I still can't believe this happened. And this is why female basketball players should be paid the exact same amount as men. Because you can't watch this video and say you weren't as equally entertained by it as when the men's Vandy team played Tennessee and hit a buzzer beater earlier this year.